Hello, this is Ryan Griffin of the Baltimore IGDA, and this is going to be episode, I think, number 9, I think. I'm bringing Tyler. Tyler Allinder, who I actually worked with at Oxide Games for about like 2 to 3 years or so. This was like a few years back, but welcome. How are you doing today?
Not doing too bad. How about you?
Doing good. I wanted to be able to kind of talk to you a little bit because you do game design, right? You've been doing that for a long time. Can you kind of like talk a little bit about like how you got started, like why you like game design?
Uh, So, pretty much start off with most people. Just anything I can get my hands on, I would play, even if it wasn't described as a game. I try to play it like one. Um, Specifically, I mean, I did D&D when I was
Mhm.
younger. 2.0, 2.5, 3, 3. All the way up to now. Um, Something that most people don't know about. I was really hardcore into multi-user dungeons, which were like it's basically it's like text adventuring, but you're communicating with a server basically. So it's basically D&D, but it's more like on an open server. So imagine like
Mm.
an MMO, but text only is kind of the easiest way to think
Uh,
about it.
like
Yeah.
and that was like kind of like in like the forum like early internet days.
Pretty early. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking like AOL
Yes,
56K
yes,
dial
yes,
up
yes.
level stuff.
I
Yeah.
was about to say, I was like, this is a very specific time frame here.
Yep, yep. So
Makes
was with
sense.
that, and then obviously, I did all the board games that kids do.
Mm,
Did Monopoly, Trouble, all those evergreens that
mm,
everyone's played, and then continued doing that. Found a group of friends who were super hardcore into games, and talked about it. Hung out at GameStop nonstop
mm,
all the time, befriended the people there. And then eventually I started to really get into like collectible card games. So I was playing Magic the
mm.
Gathering like
Yeah.
religiously,
Hmm.
probably 2 days a week at like going to tournaments and everything,
Yeah, that's a
sometimes
lot,
weekends
man.
also. Yeah. Um, Heard about a game for Naruto that was coming out, and I was super into that anime at the time. This is
Mm,
before they went into like crazy fillers and before
mm,
Shippuden and all of that stuff. So I was like, yeah, this is
mm,
so cool. And started playing that. And then eventually I decided I wanted to judge and run events. So
mm.
learned the rules, became a judge, ran every weekend, at least like 3 events. And I would go to cons and run events and everything. And that just kind of morphed into them asking me, because I was well known in the community, to come in and like, hey, you want to see the new cards and tell us what you think and da 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 da. And so we would literally sit in the cafeteria at the Bandai office and just play card games. And the payment was dinner. That was it. That was the payment.
Wait.
It
So
was like,
so at the Bandai Namco office.
yeah, this one
Huh.
was for like Bandai America. So they were in, at the time, they were in like Cypress, California. It's funny,
Oh,
actually. I've
yeah.
seen the building used in a couple of like TV shows, and I'm like, that's the building. Like,
That's
so
crazy. So
yeah.
did you just get through there through like just finding out about like the tournaments and stuff and like being able to connect with people through that on the ground level?
Pretty much, I
Oh,
would kind of
okay.
go to I would regularly go to stores to play. So I had 2 locations I would play regularly.
Hmm.
And I kind of said, do you guys like want to actually, because they're having like a tournament system, do you want to run tournaments? I'd love to run it. And they let me run it.
Mm.
At the same time, I was gathering experience running tournaments for like the back then the WoW TCG, which was the progenitor of Hearthstone. I was doing that as
Ah,
well.
okay.
Um, but yeah, I got well known as just being somebody who knew the rules really well, wasn't rude, wasn't
Yeah.
mean, generally a very well likable person. And I guess that got to them,
Hmm.
and then that word got to them, and then they asked me to come in for
Hmm.
that reason.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a pretty interesting start being able to come at it from more of a like I just like to have like the fun and getting really in depth with like a card system because like in in the office, like there's always like a group of like that like, hey, we're gonna play card games during office lunchtime, and then even after work, they're going to be like, hey, like I need to beat that guy like at that tournament on the weekend. Like I need to pregame my deck. Let me try.
Yeah, that actually happened
Yeah.
with the first group of friends I was playing Magic with. We had one guy who spent a lot of money on his cards,
Mm.
and I said, "Okay, I don't have a lot of money, but there's all these blue cards where I can take control." So I just built a deck to take his stuff.
Ah,
That was the
perfect.
whole deck. It's just taking stuff.
I mean that's part of understanding all your options, right? And that's
Yeah.
the beautiful thing about game design is being able to explore all those options and say, hey, what if I did a deck revolved around this, or what if I had a build that was totally like glass cannon, right?
Yeah, generally, I mean, like at least with CCGs, the first thing you do is you either find a mechanic that you just love and you just
Mm-hmm.
build a whole deck around it,
Mm-hmm.
or you find like an individual card that you love
Ah,
and build a whole deck
yes,
around it. It's usually
yes.
one or the other. Um, but yeah, I mean, we did that for years with the
Mm-hmm.
testing and everything, and then, you know, I did attempt to go to like school for game design,
Mm-hmm.
but I figured out after about a year that they weren't giving me tools. Sorry, let me clarify. There
Mm-hmm.
were some teachers who weren't giving me the tools to define my own form of game design. They were saying, "This is game design. Do it like this." And I said, "That's not how creativity works." And that's kind of why I basically cut it off about halfway through,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like being told that this is the one way to do things is a very swift way to kill your own creativity,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that game design is not quite uniform because it's contextual to the game that you're making, right? And you can form rule sets, but then you also have to know exceptions on how it would work in the game, right? And whether it's like class based or like triangle or whatever for resistances, do you add things, do you take away things? Like there's a lot of things that you have to think about as a game designer, and getting into the spreadsheets, right?
Yeah. And yeah, it's exactly as you said. It's you can look at other games in the genre and benchmark them and say, like, if you develop a keen enough eye, you play games and go, oh, they did
Mm,
this because it does this and it solves this problem. Okay, got it. I mean, I was literally had a revelation the other day where I was thinking about why specifically in like Last of Us when you die to the monsters, they do like a very gory kind of thing and it just smash cuts to black.
mm,
And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool because it kind of leaves it in your head how terrifying that it is. But maybe they did that because they couldn't their meshes and their characters weren't designed to have like limbs ripped off
ah,
and stuff. So they
mm,
smash because they're just like, aha, it's better in both ways now. We cover the problem and it's horrifying. So part of game design is stuff like that. You find something that gives you still that emotional feel that you want to give, but you also minimize any kind of fallout that could happen from that decision,
mhm,
mechanically or otherwise.
mhm,
So that right there, I'm like, oh, that's so clever if that's what they
mm.
did.
Elegant solutions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
looking
Elegant
at
solution.
them.
Elegant is the perfect word.
Yeah, looking at it as a holistic system approach, right? And sometimes that can be a little nuanced, but that's having a big picture, right? And sometimes that's beholden to other departments, but it's like, hey, like we're trying to make the game fun, right?
Yeah.
Fun is key.
Nobody goes into the office and goes like, today I'm gonna make the game suck. I'm gonna make a really terrible. I'm gonna make a really like 5 out of 10 pile today.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to do that. Nobody
yeah.
walks in trying to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're normally trying to do their best it's more a matter of their thought process and trying to explain that to others, and that's why like communication is pretty important, and trying to understand what other people are trying to do and being able to support them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's arguably, I mean, I'm glad we agree on that. Like,
Mm.
sorry, inarguably, the most important skill you can have in this industry is being able to
Yeah.
communicate, and
Oh yeah.
that's not just how like I'm talking to other people. It's recognizing how those people want to be talked to as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Because every discipline has general rules how they like to be talked to, but every person is individual from
Mm-hmm.
there.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that kind of covers a little bit of like how you kind of got started, like why you like games, and a little bit about like game design. So you've done a little bit of like card game stuff and board games. So how did you get your start in the industry? Was it like literally like from Bandai Namco, like going from there?
Not quite. So Bandai Namco eventually stopped that division.
Hmm.
And I admit I was kind of lost because it was the first time like I'd ever been like let go.
Mm.
So, and I was like, oh, I had the dream and I lost it, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. So I was really kind of lost. And I had an old teacher from when I was going to the college for game design. Um, it's the Alan Emmerich, actually. I don't know if anybody knows who
Mm.
he is, but
Hmm.
yeah, the guy who coined the term 4X,
Hmm.
basically. He had a company, and I said, I'm like really depressed. I just need something to do to get away from it. Like, I don't want to fall in the hole, basically.
Yeah.
And he brought me to a room in his office, and it had like stacks of prototypes. And he goes, find one that you like, and we will have a contract where you make it, where basically you work with the actual designer who submitted it to make it, to prep it and make it good,
Oh,
like board game wise.
that's cool.
And yeah, I found one, and it had really good bones, honestly. The theming, not so good.
Mm.
It's not that it just wouldn't fit mass marketing, basically. There's no
Mm.
mass appeal to it. And eventually we worked and worked, and we even used tabletop simulator
Hmm.
for testing because he was in UK and I'm all the way
Yeah.
over here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we would use tabletop sim and just test in that net and in that way. And what that eventually came was the board game Renegade, actually,
Mm.
which is up to, I think it's 4-player co-op, and the game itself is like an AI. So
Hmm.
it's a like a cyberpunk theme, basically.
Mm.
But
Yeah,
it's got, yeah, tons of elements to it. But yeah.
yeah. Tabletop Simulator is great. Like my brother and his friends play like all the time. Like because like they're again in a lot of different locations, so it's very easy to be able to just pick up a game and play, as well as like mix and match and design in there as well. So it's a great tool, and it's fairly cheap too. So it's very accessible.
Yes. Oh yeah, insanely accessible. If you don't have it, you should totally pick it up if you like
Mm.
board games.
Mm.
Um, you don't even really have to buy the stuff on it. You can make your own mods with it, and they
Mm.
have a huge community for modding. So
Mm.
I highly suggest it if you're into board games, and especially if, like you said, your friends aren't anywhere near you, then it's
Mm.
perfect.
Mm. Yeah, that and just like tabletop, like pen and paper, like doing it that way. Same thing with D&D. But once you get like a DM that like has a few campaigns under their belt, they're kind of like, nah, I need to set things aside and have digital tools, and like my cousin-in-law, like he loves to do like audio narrations for like setting the mood and the theme for his D&D. Like he loves that. It's great.
So important for that. I can't stress that enough, that although a lot of game designers, a lot of people think that it's just numbers and mechanics, and yeah, that's a lot of it, but in reality what you're trying to do is take numbers and mechanics and marry it to
Mm,
emotional
mm,
context.
mm,
That's the perfect storm, basically. And I love that you said that about
mm.
yeah, your
Yeah.
cousin, because I'm like, they get it,
Yes.
that it's like
Yes.
you can use the numbers to make great encounters, but if the players don't feel anything, because emotion is
Mm,
the biggest hook on anybody that you can have. If they don't feel it, then they're going to be like, yeah, it was fun, but and then they just kind of forget about it.
mm,
But think about it. Anybody listening, think about the your most favorite game ever. Why are you attached to it? I'll bet you it's an emotional reason
mm,
in
mm.
some way, shape, or form.
Very good. Very good. So let's see. Looking at my questions here. So you went from Bandai Namco and then working with some tabletop stuff, right?
Yep.
So eventually, like you went to Sweden, right? And that was a pretty big jump. Like after that, that was like a like 2 year or like 4 year like gap or so, like before going out to Sweden.
Yeah, it was a couple of years. I kind of
Hmm.
made this like weird kind of ultimatum to myself where I
Hmm.
gave myself like a year. It was like a year in and I was kind of like, okay, that's it. We're done being depressed. We're done
Hmm.
kicking ourselves. Um I gave myself a year and I was working at it was like medical manufacturing. It was the most brain numbing thing that I have ever
Yeah.
done in my life. It was like stuff coming down production line and do stuff. That's it. Like no thinking, no nothing.
Hmm.
Um, Still find ways to gamify thing. Like that was what I had the most fun of is like, okay, how do I gamify this thing even though it's boring? How do I gamify this thing even though it's boring? So even then my brain is still trying to do it as much as it could. But yeah, I went to every networking event I can. Never pass up networking events. You have
Hmm.
no excuse not to. You can have all the skill in the world, but if nobody knows you, then
Hmm.
it doesn't really matter. And unfortunately, I'm going to burst a lot of people's bubble here. A lot of the industry is who you know to get that foot in the door.
Hmm.
Um, so go to every networking event. And eventually I met up, and this is weird. I would always go to events early because I'm kind of I'm not an outgoing person.
Hmm.
So I would go early and I'd scope out and I'd sit somewhere and I'm like, I'm not moving from here. And this is my place. And two people came, and I'd never seen them before, and they had like heavy Irish accents, and they're
Hmm.
like, "Oh, are these seats taken?" And they grab the chair like they're gonna take it away. I'm like, "No, you can go ahead and take it." "Oh, okay, cool. And they just sat down. So I got to know them, and they were working at Starbreeze, and I was kind of
Oh,
explaining,
nice.
I'm trying to get in, I'm trying to do this, and they're like, well, what do you do? And I explained everything,
Hmm.
and they said you should apply to this because we're actually looking for somebody exactly
Oh,
like you.
perfect.
Yeah. So some people would call it luck, some people would call it kismet, whatever you call it. I mean, you should never pass on going networking events,
Hmm.
otherwise that kind of thing won't happen.
Hmm. Yeah, and sometimes you never know like what kind of opportunities happen at those events because like sometimes like it's a matter of like your charisma, sometimes it's your knowledge or you happen to know like Unreal or you happen to have a certain visual aesthetic or you happen to know somebody. So it's very interesting going to those events as well as like building your confidence, being able to talk and explain who you are, why you like games, as well as getting into the weeds, right? Because like with interviews, you have a very like short window to try to suss out like whether this person's a good fit or not, and that also helps you in the running to at least like get through HR a little bit to be like, hey, like this is somebody who we know and we talk to them and they're knowledgeable. Let's actually bring them in, right?
Yeah, and a lot of interviews, there is always that technical side, of course, where
Mm,
if you're programming, they might give you stuff on. I don't know if they do whiteboard tests anymore, but sometimes they do whiteboard tests. For design, you'll usually get like a take-home test. I've had some that are like, here's a bunch of questions, like in-depth design questions about things, and usually the second part is pick a game from this list and make a system for it either in this vein or please describe the gameplay loops for it or things like that.
mm,
So knowing more games is always good. It's just more stuff in your toolbox,
mm,
but being able to not only just confidently communicate it, but just being able to accurately communicate it is I again, we stressed it before,
mm,
stressing it again. And like you said, you get that experience by going to networking events. And I please, please, please don't like just go and sit. Like, please go talk to people.
mm,
Most people probably won't come to you, um, and it doesn't have to be stiff or anything. Just say, "How are you doing? Hey, did you hear about the X layoffs or whatever that happened? What do you think about that? I
Or
mean,
the next
yeah,
like big game that's out, like your Expedition 33. Did you play
yeah,
that? Like
yeah.
that game's system is great. Like, oh, I loved it because of XYZ reason. And then you're able to get into why you like games, and that can help bring out your passion. Because like that was like another thing for me, because like when I was younger, like I actually like stuttered a lot because I was very like shy and reserved. But then once I talked about like games and stuff and like art and things, and it just opened up
Flows.
like a whole world of like, hey, like I'm not stuttering at all. So it's great.
Yeah, it just flows. And honestly, all of us are here because we don't get into this for fame.
Mm.
We definitely don't get into this for fortune. Um, so I mean, what's left? It's passion,
Passion.
basically.
Yep.
So you have an easy shortcut right into somebody as long as you just kind of know what the current going ons
Mm.
are. Or maybe you've played something that you notice nobody else is playing, and you're just
Mm.
like, "Hey, have you heard about this?" And you kind of explain it and talk to them about it, and
That's
maybe they're
true.
interested, maybe they're not. It's fine.
Well, that's
Yeah.
like a cool thing to talk shop with somebody who's in the same discipline as you,
Yes.
because like if they haven't heard of that game or played it, and they're like, hey, like I've seen it, but like I haven't actually like delved into it, and you enlighten them to something that they've never tried before, and it's like, hey, look, this guy's onto something. He has a perspective that I haven't seen yet, and I value that, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if I was talking to you, I would bring up Expedition 33 and I would say, hey, have you played? And if you said yes or no, you've probably seen posters and stuff like that. And I'd be like, what do you think about the art style? What do you think about the fact that nobody has used, I'm going to butcher the name, like chiaroscuro type of art form in everything? What do you think about using that? And then we would go back and forth, and I would say design things, and I would try to communicate and link that to art and then pass it back to you. And it's just this conversation back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah, and like for me, I feel like that would come down to the battle UI, right? Because that goes into like turn order, it goes into how it's communicating my attacks and weaknesses, or like the monster weak points or what have you.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's easy as that. And
Yeah.
anytime you're just, it's kind of, you can kind of feel the conversation out the more experience you get. And
Mm,
if it's kind of not drying up, but both people are clearly like,
mm,
okay, I've kind of had my fill. It's fine. There's
hmm.
probably 30 other people that
Oh yeah,
have. It's like a whole other planet that you can like talk to and learn about.
yeah,
Think of it that way. You're exploring. Like,
yeah.
it's more entertaining that way.
And being able to network like that, maybe like it may not pay off like right away, but then maybe in like 6 months or something, hey, something opens up, and hey, I know somebody who knows how to do game design. Let me like contact them and then bring them in, right? Because like it may not happen right away, but maybe sometime in the future. So.
Yeah, and generally, I've had people come up to me and they kind of go, "Hi, I'm so and so, and I'm a student at da da da," and they just hand me a business card. I'm like, "No, no, 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 no,
Yeah, it's a little
no,
more
no,
than
no. That's
that.
let's talk, like, because
Mm,
I want to get that connection with you
mhm.
again,
Yeah.
emotional connection. So be I want to talk to you. I don't. If you just hand me a card and walk away, I'm gonna be like, I don't know anything about you.
Mm,
So I want to know about you. I
mhm.
really do. So as hard as it is, you don't even have to look me in the face. I understand. I
Mm,
don't look people in the face a lot of the time
mhm,
for different reasons.
mhm,
I get it. Some people are a lot more shy.
mhm.
Completely understand. Um, I don't even care if we put manila folders in front of our faces. I don't care.
Mm,
Whatever makes the person talk works for
mhm,
me. Um, but yeah, be prepared to just talk about
mhm.
something.
Yeah, and like looking at my my notes here, like so like after what was it, Starbreeze, right? Like you were able to go to Sweden, right? Obviously it's a completely different country, right? So like what was that experience like, going over to Sweden, like interviewing and like starting a job there?
Yeah, the interview process was interesting because it's since I was in California, it's a 9-hour difference.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would be interviewing late at night, and sometimes I'd be interviewing super early in the morning. Um, so that part was daunting, and I think it was like 4 interviews and like 2 tests actually,
Mhm.
because and I got told later by the lead, we gave you a second test because you've never worked in digital games before, so we wanted to be like
Ah, true,
100%
true.
sure. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
Mhm.
Um, and it was the same things that I mentioned. It's here's a list of questions, answer the questions. And the second test was make another system for a game of your choice for something you think is missing.
Mm,
So again, playing lots of games will help you with that. You'll
mm,
probably have something right off the top of your head immediately when people
mhm,
ask you that question. You're prepared for it.
mm,
But yeah, moving there was not as daunting as I thought, but that's more because I literally could fit everything I own in 2 suitcases.
ah,
So
yeah.
I was very like Spartan in terms of
Mm,
living. So it was very easy in that regard. And the company made it very easy too. You know, most companies, when you're moving to a new country, they have usually like a relocation company who will do all the paperwork and tell you what to do, get you the plane flight, and they'll get you there, and then they'll set you up a bank account, which that part was a massive headache. Like I actually had to like beg like another designer. I'm like, can you please like buy my lunch because
mm,
I can't
yeah,
have a
you
bank
can't.
account for like a
Yeah.
month.
Oof.
And everybody in Sweden, they don't use cash. They pretty much
Hmm.
use exclusively card.
Oh,
So
that's kind of difficult then. Yeah.
yeah, so I converted pretty much all of my money into paper, and I'm like, cool, it's useless. so so if I had left it in the account, it would have been a lot better. But
Mm,
I mean, that was the biggest headache, honestly. It was just then after the first month, once I had the account,
mhm,
it was pretty good.
mhm. Nice. And like, do you feel like it was like any kind of like cultural difference, or was it just like, nope, they talk game dev like I am game dev, like I can fit in just fine.
There's definitely a lot of Swedish people will say that they are very guarded in
Mhm,
terms of like conversation. Like they
mhm.
won't talk to people outside their circle very
Ah,
easily.
true, true.
I still don't know how they beat new people. I don't get it. Because like trying to talk with somebody randomly, like in America, you'll bump
Mhm,
into people and you can just talk and it's
mhm,
fine. It's kind of just what we do.
mhm.
But out there, it's not like they're not rude about it. They're kind of just like
Yeah, like,
very shy. They're
yeah.
just kind of, yeah, very. It's
Mhm,
clear that it's close to the chest, you
mhm,
know. But other than that, everybody speaks English.
mhm,
English is the language of business.
mhm.
And I mean, the company wasn't just Swedish people. There
Okay,
were
it's international.
French people,
Mhm,
Spanish
gotcha.
people, Brazilian people, like everywhere around the world. So it was really cool getting a taste of like, oh, I guess I'm working with UI today, and
Mhm,
that guy's from the UK, and that guy's from Russia, and I
mhm,
get to like ask them and kind of get a feel for how all these different people communicate
mhm.
essentially. And I think the only thing I was told was that I guess Americans have a tendency to come off as like the stereotype is that we're very brash and we're
Okay,
very
okay.
loud,
Yeah.
and I was told like you're just not really like a normal American. I'm like, what? So I quit back as a, do you want me to be like
Yeah, I mean,
that?
I
And they're
can
like,
meet
no,
your
no, no, don't do that.
expectations.
Yeah, but I mean, Swedish people have a tendency once you know them, they
Mhm,
will just tell you point blank everything. And it's not meant to
mhm,
insult you. It's more of they're encouraged to speak their mind.
mhm,
There's no like sugar coating on it. They just
mhm,
state what it is. And
mhm,
it's not meant to be insulting or anything. It took me a
mhm,
little bit to get over it.
mhm.
Um obviously, I mean, I'm sure you know about this and everybody should know about this imposter syndrome.
Oh, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Huge, massive,
Yeah.
I mean, especially as your first job,
Mhm,
massive imposter syndrome.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the first couple months, like it's like doubly so, like when you're moving like across the country, let alone to a different country, and then it's like
Hmm.
imposter syndrome on top of that, and having to deal with all the new relocation stuff, and then that first like 3 months you're just like, I gotta do everything. It's like, yes, like you will get there. They will ramp you up to bigger and bigger things.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting in meetings and you're like, I sat in a meeting with all the other designers and they're like, "Oh, I'm doing this, this, this," and I'm like,
I
"I
have
don't
like
know
one.
any of this. I don't know what any of this is. I don't know what the
Yeah,
fuck he just said."
yeah. So many
And
systems.
yeah, and eventually I mean, I even told my lead, I'm like,
Mm,
"I don't understand what any of you are saying." He's like, "That's normal."
mm,
He's like, "It'll take you about a month before you're kind of like, oh, I get
mm,
what's going on here."
mm-hmm. Yeah,
So he was very,
because you're
yeah,
learning the systems of the game, like especially if it's like a game that is like NDA'd and it's never been seen outside the office. It's like, hey, like everybody who comes in, they don't know anything. It's totally normal.
yeah. And they usually will push like if they have a build, if you're lucky,
Mm,
and they have something that's playable, great. You get a kind of a rough idea, but usually your first at least 2 weeks is here's a mound of documentation,
yeah,
read
reading,
all of it.
reading, yeah.
And then if you have any questions, keep a list, and usually your lead, you can send the questions to your lead, or you can go to the person in charge of that system and say, I don't understand this.
Hopefully that documentation is up to date. Because that was
Yeah.
a that was an issue, especially when the person who wrote the documentation left a year ago. It's like,
Yep.
no.
Yep.
uh,
Unfortunately in game dev, the first thing that usually falls by the wayside is
yeah,
documentation.
it's true.
Um, Unfortunate, but it happens.
Yeah, and that's what living documentation, i.e., go to your boss.
Yep. Just whoever's in charge of it, go to them,
Yeah.
and largely you just kind of barrage them with questions. And most of
Mhm.
the time, telling you, most designers are like, "Oh, you want to ask about my system?" And they're super excited and they really want to talk about it.
True, true. And then there goes like 2 hours of your time. It's like
Yep.
I'm glad that I understand a lot of this, but like I need lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty awesome. So let's see here. We have about like half an hour or so, so I got a couple more questions. So like getting into like game design, like what do you think is like good game design? It's a very broad question.
We kind of touched on it with two things. I
Mm,
think when you said like elegance, and
mm,
elegance to me, I don't want to just say, oh, it's elegance, because then people
mm.
were like, yeah, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Um,
context though.
Elegance is taking something complex and
Mm,
distilling it so it's simple to understand.
mm, mm,
And the other half of that coin is that you, like I mentioned before, you're taking something that's mechanically complex, you're simplifying it, and you're tying it to some kind of emotion that you want the player to feel. So, most games nowadays, they're very into the design du jour right now is like power fantasies, essentially.
mm, mm,
So, oh, I want to be a tank and I want to be able to walk into people and they can't do shit to stop me. That's a power fantasy.
mm,
Um, Something like I want to deal tons of damage and I want to be able to, have verticality and be able to dash really fast. That's another power fantasy. You can trace these all the way back to, I mean, like D&D. Go read any D&D player's handbook. Those are all power fantasies, straight up.
yeah, I was gonna say I feel like you're describing Monster Hunter right
A little bit, yeah.
now.
I mean, I played a little bit of it, but
Mm,
yeah, like a lot. The little bit that I played with the different weapons that you can use and everything, I'm like, oh, that's this. Oh, that's
mm,
that. And you'll see it across all different games. Obviously, that's for single character stuff, but
mhm.
you still see it distilled into other things. So like again, like you and I worked on a 4X game. We
Mm.
worked on Aura
Yeah.
History Untold, and it's like, oh, the power fantasies are the military player, the science player, the player who wants all the money in the world, the player who wants all the culture in the world. These are
Mm,
all power fantasies. They're no different. They're just it's a different lens. That's all it
mm,
is. But it's
mhm,
the same thing in the end, and you get a feeling out of that. Some again, the tank example that I like to play tanks, but a lot of games get it wrong, if I'm being honest.
hmm.
Um,
So with games getting it wrong, so like let's say it's like a Dark Souls kind of game, or I don't know,
mhm,
like a Devil May Cry. Like
mhm.
what what makes a good tank?
there's different kinds. That's the big thing. There's traditional ones that are usually having, sword and board, and you're about expressing mastery with blocking and knowing when to attack and knowing the reach of your weapon and things like that. There's more of the kind of atypical ones, which are like two-handed sword, but I can take a huge beating, but I can give it back just as
Mm,
well.
mhm,
Um, where you just kind of you take the hit, but you kind of walk through it and give the hit anyway. Basically, hyper armor or super armor in this
mm,
case. Um, so there's different flavors of tank that you can go for. I mean, like World of Warcraft has the warrior, which is the classic tank with the defensive stance and stacking aggro and stuff like that. But then they came out with like Blood Knight, which was you can take a beating, but because you siphon health back, you're tanky in that respect as well.
like a life steal.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So these
Gotcha.
these are both tanks that achieve tank status, but they
Hmm.
do it in different ways.
So, did you find that your experience with like Magic the Gathering and card game systems, like, do you feel like that helped you to like translate like to like actual like game systems of like, hey, I can have like archetypes that are classes that I can mix and match like abilities with.
Yeah, I mean, literally when I first got brought into like Aura, I literally saw all of these play styles
Hmm.
exactly in my head like a color pie like Magic the
Mm.
Gathering, which is, oh, the military player wants to do this by doing these things and achieves this to feel this.
Hmm. Mhm.
And it was the exact same thing. Like Magic the Gathering is, oh, red players are brash and emotional, and which is why you have a lot of explosive damage, but you
Hmm.
run out of essentially gas really
Mm.
quickly.
Ah.
That's like everything kind of has a built-in weakness in that regard. When you start throwing layers on top of this, you start kind of making little changes to it to suit the new layers that you're adding. So
Mhm.
if you're adding PvP, you can't have the military player just dealing infinity bajillion damage. You need
Mhm.
other players to be able to contend with that as well.
Mhm.
And that is honestly kind of a weakness of a lot of 4X games nowadays that hasn't been solved. So, which
Mhm.
is a lot of these different players are just playing a different game and they're
Mhm.
not quite interacting with each other. You're kind of forced to do military all the time because the only answer to military is more
More
military.
military, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
So,
that
but then you have
balance, right, of like being able to understand, hey, like this player is playing this style. They're gonna be researching. They're gonna turtle and then go tall, right? Like I'm
yeah,
gonna have like two cities that are like getting me like a ton of research, versus like this one's gonna be like Zerg, like just going everywhere, but they have a lot of like skirmish kind of stuff. But then like the guy with the big army is just like, nope.
yeah, exactly. And in the end, you want all players to get there to get to the same result eventually, which is like how you win the game, which is
Mm,
obviously destroy their cities or somehow take them over.
mm,
But they get there in different ways. But you
mm,
have to also make sure that they can interact with each other
mm,
as well along the way.
mm. So like uh what are you playing now? Like what's something that you've like played that you really like in the past like couple months?
I mean, obviously, to preface, I played a lot. I played a decent amount of JRPGs when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't like them now because I feel like I have kind of a general rule with myself where if a game can't hook me in the first hour, then I feel like it's failed.
Really?
Um,
Like that
yeah,
quick? Wow. I mean, I
it
feel
has to
like
be an hour.
that's
You have, yeah,
I feel
it's
like that's like pretty tough as like a tough sell, but you're also a professional game designer, so it's like I get it.
Yeah, and that's
Mm,
my thing. That's
mm,
not I don't push this on anybody. I
mm,
understand that yes, it has flaws, and I understand yes, this means I might miss out on things.
mm,
The catch-all to this is if I have friends who are saying you must play this, then I will play it,
mm,
and I will stick through it.
mm,
Um, and it hasn't steered me wrong. Like as an example, Metaphor was open to play as a demo.
mm,
I'm sorry, I think the anime art style is really overdone. And it's like an immediate turn off to me,
mm,
basically, because it's not it has expectations to it, and I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, cool. So it's an anime art style. So okay, are you just a random nobody that goes to a new area,
Mm.
but everybody
Yeah.
hates you for some reason, or are you going to school or something? Or
Yeah.
oh, look, that's exactly what's happening.
It's got a lot
And
of
I was just kind of like,
tropes that are
yeah,
shoot in
yeah,
that it's like I don't necessarily want to have that, and it's like I want to do my own thing, but I'm gonna use this art style, but it's like loaded with like expectation. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
yeah. So, and there has been things that have defied that
Mm.
expectation. So, like one of my favorite RPGs from the past is Final Fantasy Tactics. I'm like,
Mm.
it's a little bit different
Hmm.
in terms of art style. It's got a little twist on it, which is really neat. And it doesn't tell a typical story. Yes, you are a person who is a relative unknown, but then you find out, this character is related to these people, and this is actually what's going on in the world. And it's like, oh, this is like actually a lot different. And it doesn't take terribly long to really draw you into it, at least into the mechanics or anything. Um,
So, have you heard of Octopath Traveler?
I have played it a decent amount
Okay.
for some reason, and I don't know why, because everything about it screams that it should hook me.
Mm.
Because I love that art style,
Yeah.
like the kind of Final Fantasy VI kind
Yeah.
of
I
look.
was
Final
like
Fantasy VI is
thinking
up
about it.
there for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Six. Gotcha.
So yeah, it should hook me, but
Mm.
I don't know, something about it just, and I can't. It's one of those ones.
So
I'm interested. Like you asked me, and I'm like, yeah, that's that one that's like it's over here, and I'm like, I don't know why you're not hooking me. It's
mm.
weird because everything's there.
So like, is it okay? Because like Octopath Traveler, it has the like different stories with the different characters and whatnot. And like, do you feel
Mhm.
like that in and of itself because it has like the different visions? And like timelines, or is it more the mechanics? Because obviously you're a game designer, so is it the mechanics that you're kind of like on, or is it the way that the story is told?
I think the mechanics are good. I think you might be onto something with the story
Mm.
because it feels like I'm going forward, and then suddenly goes, oh, but wait, go back,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then go
yeah.
forward again.
Okay,
And I'm like,
yeah.
dude, just can we move
Yeah,
forward?
I understand that. I just want to throw that out as a curveball because I was like, hey, like this again was like kind of up your alley. So I was like, maybe.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
these things
yeah,
happen.
it tickles everything else.
Yeah.
It hits everything else, but I think you've
Mm,
got something
mm,
with like little
mm,
flashbacks are
mm.
fine, but major flashbacks like that are like okay.
So, what is like a game that you feel is underrated?
I okay, so I my original fascination with games
Mm.
was survival horror, so like Resident
Survival.
Evil.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I don't have it, but I used to
Mm.
have like I have a copy of the now defunct GamePro magazine,
Mm.
and they had a walkthrough for Resident Evil. I read it until the magazine had no spine. Like it fell apart.
Wow, that
Like I
is
read it that many
well
times when I was
used.
younger. So yeah, then I got a PlayStation and I loved it because I think horror is the ultimate expression of games. So
Mm.
that being said, um, I think Prey was is really underrated.
Mm.
I think a lot more people need to play it, and I think that Evil Within specifically 2
Mm.
is underrated as well. Um,
Yeah, I played Prey. I love the art in Prey, like
mhm.
the aesthetic as well as like the horror elements. I was like, yes. I haven't actually played Evil Within, but like I did want to play that as well as the other one by that same studio. I think it was like Tango, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, Tango Gameworks, which everybody found out about because of Hi-Fi Rush, which is
No,
also
no, I found out about it earlier than that, and I was
oh, even
like,
earlier than that. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Okay.
because like I actually wanted to apply there, but but it's over in Tokyo, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
like I need the N1 Japanese probably. So
Yeah. But pretty much almost everything that studio did put out
mm,
is pretty good.
yeah,
Honestly, it's pretty
yeah.
high quality, and I mean, it definitely shows. God, I'm trying to remember. I know they did Evil Within 1, they did Evil Within 2, and they did Hi-Fi. I know that there's a fourth one, and I know when somebody says it, I'll be like, "Oh
Yeah,
yeah, it's that." Okay.
yeah.
because
like
it was something not. It was like double A. It was not super high
yeah.
profile, but it was there.
What was it by that producer or no, she was a creator, but like she was like very like happy go lucky, but then like her game like flopped and then like she left because of a controversy.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Ghostwire, yes, that's what it was. That's what it was.
There it is. So yeah, as soon as you said that, because I remember her going like,
Yeah,
"Ah,"
it's
and doing
like
that little like
yeah,
that kawaii pose on this,
yeah,
and everyone's just like, "Oh my
yeah,
god!" Like everyone just fell in love immediately right there.
exactly.
But yeah, that was Ghostwire Tokyo
Yeah,
for sure.
it's the same thing with like Keanu Reeves, where it's just like, no, you're
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, moments in game history.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and I mean, see what I mean with the emotional connection? Like we remember
Yes,
those two things
yes,
specifically because of emotional connection.
exactly. Totally. Yeah, that's like two like really good points there with like things that you like and things that are underrated. So like thinking back to like within this year, obviously there's kind of been like a number of things that have been like highlights, right? And like things that have been like a little challenging, right? Like what kind of things are you kind of like looking forward to like this year? I think you had also said about like maybe like moving, like you'd hinted at that.
Yeah, so I mean, at least professionally, I'm moving back to Sweden
Mm.
actually
Mm-hmm.
for a newer job, and that's why everything's kind of I blurred it because everything's in disarray behind me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like pulling stuff out and just putting them on the floor anywhere. I don't
Mm.
care where it goes because I'm just trying to get rid of a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of stuff and get ready for that. But I mean, professionally, I don't I don't get out of my shell very often.
Mm-hmm.
So like part of why I reached out to you
Mm-hmm.
is I'm like I need to put myself out more
Mm-hmm.
because my my big thing is I have all of these lessons that I've learned and I don't want people to make the same mistakes.
Mm.
I really don't because I feel like if I can if I even touch one person who can understand to not make these mistakes, then they can
Mm.
make a better game.
Mhm.
And then I can get old as crap and then play that game and it'll be better.
Yes, yeah, it's true.
So it's kind of like this nice cycle. It's like, okay, now I've taught you my problems.
Mm.
Don't make the same things. Now go make something cool so I can play it, please,
Mm.
while I'm retired or whatever.
Yeah, and that's like one of the things that I enjoy too about like giving back and being able to help mentor like local students like from my schools and whatnot, or just people who know me. It's like, hey, yeah, I will help to guide you along as well as like give you a trick or two. So.
Yeah. I mean, anytime if anybody ever sees me
Mm.
and I'm at an event or something, like I'm there because you can poke me
Mm-hmm.
and ask me anything. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
what you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything. Um,
Yeah, and that can be something that can be like interdisciplinary or something that's like your passion is this, but like I'm curious about what you do kind of do. That kind of deal. And that's also kind of why like we want to be able to help mentor people, but also like help make good games, right? Because like we all are gamers at heart, right? We want to make good games.
yeah, and that's kind of why you hear me talking. I can give specific examples of how the things that I've made, why they are the way they are and why
Mm,
they work, but I prefer to give it to you in the shape of like a tool.
mm,
This is why I use you marry mechanical and emotion together. And if that's not clicking for
mm,
somebody, it's a lot easier to tell that it doesn't click when you're
mm,
talking in person. And I can go,
mm,
okay, that didn't click with them. And
mm,
then I can ask them and I
mm,
can slowly figure out how they like to be communicated to, like I
mm,
mentioned. And eventually you say the right words where it goes
mm.
and it clicks
Yeah.
and they understand exactly what you're saying.
So, like, what kind of advice would you give to your younger self? Because you know that you just said that you like kind of want to help inspire like and take the lessons that you learned. What's something that you would tell your younger self?
Don't be afraid to do more things that are not in your comfort zone.
Mm, mm,
It is it's unique experiences that lead you to uniquely creative things. So again, I'll go back to Expedition 33. Everyone says it's amazing, but that's because it's a JRPG made by a French
Yeah,
studio.
a French studio.
They
It's
have
very
they have
French.
this, yeah, very French. They have this different lens and it looks fresh because of
Yes.
that. They have that experience that no one else has ever seen before. It's under the hood, it's the same thing you've played.
Mm.
But it has that extra layer on top that sets it apart from everything else. So don't be afraid. I mean, I'm not saying obviously if it's out of your comfort zone and you don't want to go skydiving, then don't do it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine. I get it. But push yourself a little bit to go
Mm.
outside of that comfort zone because I mean one more example, the story of the movie of Cars, like he made that because he went on a road trip with his family
Mm.
and they went off of the freeway and saw these towns that were like run down
Mm.
because the freeway just destroyed the town because
Mm.
once people could just drive past they wouldn't stop there anymore. So the story is all about here's this character who comes into this town that's losing out because this freeway exists and no one understands the gem that it is.
Mm.
And he would have never been able to make that without that experience because they probably didn't want to get off the freeway, but they were forced to, probably for repairs or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But be open to those experiences.
being able to get like different experiences that help that you can go through like different lessons either like so that you've learned or experiences through life or games that you've liked as a kid, you can help to rekindle those into new experiences with a different lens. And sometimes that's like art wise, sometimes that's tone with like music, right? Because like you can have a very different like genre, right? Like there's a lot that you can do, as well as like, hey, like I like to do D&D, right? So like let me take like this like campaign story that I like and bring that into a game. And there's a lot of different avenues from the different creative avenues, and game development is an extension of that. It is a beautiful way to be able to convey a experience to someone.
Exactly. And don't be fooled. Like the entire experience of a Souls like is all about overcoming a major adversity and that feeling of release that you get when you
Mm.
overcome it.
Mm.
That's that's a real life thing that happens and everybody the fact that it has multiplayer, it's all planned. It's all part of it. So
Awesome. So like we're gonna be wrapping up here. We got like a couple more minutes. So I wanted to be able to talk like what advice would you give to like an entry level game designer? Like that's like a unicorn, I know, in today's industry. But like what would you give to a entry level game designer?
uh, two things. We kind of touched on one of them, which is so game design is viewed largely as a soft skill. When I say
Mm.
soft skill, it's everybody thinks they can do it, but you probably can't as well as you think that you do,
Mm.
because there's different ways of thinking and there's different ways of describing it. My advice is to, as I said before, you need to be able to communicate not just how you talk to other people, but how they want to be talked to. That's doubly more important than how you talk to people. If you can manage to communicate across all disciplines, a system that you're working on or designing, whether in documentation, preferably in documentation because it lives while
Mm.
you aren't standing there all the time, then you'll have a cohesive vision for the implementation of that system. If you aren't clear in your communication,
Mhm.
it can lead to dissonance, which means the system will not end up where you want it to be, or it will be a little bit different. And that can be in word choice, it can be in assumptions that the person has based on their experiences, anything of that variety. I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but you should definitely land it in the ballpark with the
Mhm.
documentation and
Mhm.
then kind of clean up the extra things after. Um, we already touched on get out and network. No excuse, honestly. this is a cutthroat game. You should take every advantage you can take. So,
Mm.
and then
Eh,
the last one, respect your own time.
mm,
It's it's a very I understand that it's a passion kind of thing for
mm,
everybody, and is a very big
mm.
temptation for you to give 110%.
Yeah.
I promise you that will only lead to burnout,
Ah.
and it will probably not get you
Mm-hmm.
much anywhere, if I'm
Mm.
being honest. When it's time, the way I think of it in my head is it's better for me to work at 100% for 2 hours than work at 50% for 4 hours.
Mm.
So I would rather sleep for 2 hours and then work 2 hours rather than work 4 hours and be kind of like distracted or
Mm.
tired or anything like that. So sleep is just as important.
Mm.
Disconnect yourself. Go do something else. Like I mentioned, go doesn't have to be a big experience. Go try a new restaurant. Go talk to people. Go network. Just do something else.
Mm.
Anything.
Mm.
Just to detach yourself. I understand that it's a very hard thing to do,
Mm.
but I promise you it'll end up better and you'll be more mentally sane for it.
Mm. I remember talking to like some musicians as well. Like they really like to have experiences either through like movies or through books to be able to help to allude to experiences and then recreating them in their music. Like that can be a thing that is also quite useful with just living life and going out on that vacation or taking that moment that you had playing with like a family member or something like having that as like a distilled like moment. So pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So a couple more things. Is there anything that you want to be able to actually like talk about or like showcase before we head out?
Not off the top of my head
Mm-hmm.
currently. Um, yeah, I think I've pretty much said
Okay.
most things for now. Just don't be afraid to ask people.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, just talk. Just please get out and talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Play the games. Don't just watch videos of it.
Ah, true, true. Yeah, because that's another
You,
thing. Like being able to experience the game yourself, because like being able to like because actually that's a good point because like my brother does QA like how do you like playing a game right and then like experiencing it and like designing can be like a very like different thing, right? Like experiencing the game because like in a movie it's very like rigid, right? Because it's choreographed with like okay we're gonna go this scene that scene that scene, but then when you're actually interacting with the system and going through the different menus and whatnot, maybe some UI hangs and it's like, well, that completely breaks your immersion for the game. It's like, ah.
yeah, it's movies and books are an on rails experience for
Mm,
sure. You start at the beginning and you go to the end, and it's a straight line.
mm,
Games have that ability where they don't go in a straight line; they
mm,
go wherever you allow the player to take it. Um, and yeah, at least being as a designer, I mean, literally when I'm playing a game, I'll go, okay, am I playing as a player or am I playing as a designer? Right?
mm,
And these are two different ways of playing. Um, whenever, I mean, this is why this is like one of the only ways that I have justified the Xbox Game Pass is amazing. If you're a designer, get
mm,
it and just pick random things and just again play it for an hour. Play it as a player, keep it installed, move to another one, play it as a
mm,
player, play it as a player, then loop back around and play as a designer.
mm,
Try to think about why they did certain things. And then think about the experience you had as a player and think, what did I feel and why did I enjoy this? And then try to marry it with the design when you did your design 1 hour and try to marry those two things together. And you're gonna start trying to kind of glimpse what's going on. And by the way, don't just play AAA. Don't just
mm.
play good games. Play bad ones. Bad ones hide mistakes a lot worse than AAA does. AAA is they are really good at hiding mistakes, so it's harder to see. But play everything you can get your hands on.
Mm.
I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, not necessarily just like one genre because like you could get ideas from a game that you would have never normally played, and it's just like oh like I can take that nugget right and then apply it here.
Yes, there will always be systems in other games. I mean, I always say this all the time. So I work on Souls likes right now. I would like anybody to think about a Souls like in any way besides that it's a fighting game. It's the same thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's frame timings, it's reach, it's
Hmm.
distance, damage outputs. It's the same thought process
Hmm.
between the
Nice.
both of them. And you'll see parallels between them too. You'll see, like whenever you do like weapon arts in Elden Ring,
Hmm.
those are EX moves.
Hmm.
There's nothing else. Like it's the
Hmm.
same thing. So
Hmm. All right. Well, I think that's going to be pretty much it. So I'm going to kind of hint at like the next thing that we're going to do with the Baltimore IGDA. So we're about like halfway through the year now. It's kind of crazy that like 2025 is like already halfway done. So the Baltimore IGDA will be doing a event in July. So stay tuned for more info on that. But we're going to be maybe working with like some esports stuff, so some local stuff specifically with the esport community. So hopefully that will work out, and more details coming soon. The Baltimore IGDA is also looking for people to help with the administration, so people who can volunteer either with moderation or with like a secretary, social media types, because eventually we'll be getting towards elections and being able to figure out how the second half of our year is going to go, because we got a lot of big things planned. We also have a event for September as well that is going to be kind of a replacement for the Artscape Gamescape event, which normally happens at the beginning of summer, but that's been in the works for a while. If you are interested in being able to submit your game for that, please go on to the Baltimore IGDA Discord and look for the event to be able to submit your game. So that's going to be pretty much everything that I wanted to be able to talk about. Thank you very much, Tyler. Is there anything that you like to say before we go?
exactly what you just said. You're looking for help. That is an amazing foot in the door for
Mm,
networking right there.
mm-hmm,
Like if you want to get an excuse to talk to people, right there
mm-hmm.
you go, and you get to network basically for free. It's already a foot in the door.
Yeah, that, and with most of our events, we also like to have like presentation and education with it, and networking is a it's something that comes with the territory, right? So it's something that you're getting a trifecta of meeting people, getting some good food, and being able to network with people. So it's a great time. So, all
Yep.
right. Well, thank you very much, Tyler. I will link your LinkedIn. Do you want like any of like your social medias or anything like that, or do you just want your LinkedIn?
Probably just LinkedIn for now.
Okay. All right. Well, that's going to be it. Thank you very much, Tyler, and good luck with everything with moving. And I hope to see you soon, and hopefully I can buy you lunch sometime. So, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and I will see you next time. All right. Bye bye.
See you.